Well, good evening and welcome viewers, and welcome to the highlights package from round 7 of the Formula Sim Racing AMA series, where we take you to the Principality of Monte Carlo for the incredibly famous Monaco Grand Prix. Hop, skip and a jump from Nice Côte d'Azur Airport, and we find this absolutely beautiful, if expensive, harbour setting, and we're going to try to bring to you the specialty of Monaco, the magic that makes this place so amazing, how a tiny principality can be the birthplace of so many incredible legends. The honour roll of multiple winners, Senna, Hill, Schumacher, Prost, Moss, Stewart, Rosberg, Hamilton, Fangio, Lauda, Scheckter, Coulthard, Alonso, Webber, Vettel and Maurice Trintignant. Let's have a look at the track. So turn 1, Saint Devote, pulling the car up from 280 kilometers per hour in 6th gear to 115 kph turn in 2nd gear. Climbing up the hill through Beau Rivage, no big deal unless you're side by side and fighting for position, as Vettel and Gasly will attest. Massenet, pulling up from 275 down to 155 for a left-hander requiring massive precision. Casino, right-hander, 3rd gear, exit critical, watching for undulations in the track as you head down to Mirabeau-Hort. Mirabeau-Hort braking from 225 down to 80 kph in 2nd gear before a little squirt back up to 125 before braking for the Lowe's hairpin. Lowe's hairpin, slowest corner in Formula 1 at 45 kph, 1st gear, seems like it takes forever and a dangerous pinch point on lap 1. Avoiding wheel spin with a quick upshift to 2nd as you open up the corner of Mirabeau-Basse and head right down to Portier. Portier, you're wanting speed through the tunnel, but patience is a virtue. Nouvelle chicane, you are pulling the car up from the absolute fastest speed of the whole lap, 287 down to a corner speed of 60 kph, so critical braking zone. To back, 160 kph left-hander Armco very close, and the Armco begging for attention on the exit. Swimming pool complex, flat as you go up through the gears, albeit with a slight short shift and hitting almost 250 through that section. 2nd swimming pool back down to 120 kph, 2nd or 3rd gear, watching the exit. Approach to Rascasse, touching 200 kph before a heavy braking zone and a 60 km/h very precise right-hander. Quick squirt of throttle between Rascasse and Anthony Nogues up to 120 kph, and then a very tricky right-hander negotiated at about 82 kph. And that is a lap of the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. So to set the scene coming into this round and to just give you a bit of a feel of who's who in the zoo, we'll have a quick look at the standings before Monaco, and we can see there that Mirko Mancini is at the very top of the standings, following a brace of podiums, 2 of which were victories, and a tremendous surge in form from the Netherlands onwards. He's followed, however, very closely with a deficit of only 3 points by the Greek driver Giannis Lianos, who has had a worst result of 6th place and a string of no fewer than 3 podiums. In 3rd place, Casper Nisio, who has 2 podiums to his name and a string of very strong results. Next in 4th place we have Thomas Smit from the Netherlands. Thomas podiumed in the very first round and hasn't since, but went oh so close in both Silverstone and in Indianapolis, and we caught up with Thomas in the Netherlands for a quick interview which we'll play after this segment. Fabrice Morilato in 5th place has a podium to his credit in Germany and is showing the importance of consistent points finishes in moving yourself up the table. We'll leave it to you to pause the video if you wish to study the standings coming into Monaco in any greater detail.
Hello guys, I'm Thomas Smit, I'm from the Netherlands. I'm driving for TIA Bluefus in Formula Sim Racing. My favorite Formula 1 driver is Max Verstappen. My most favorite sport to play are mountain bike and squash and karting, of course. My favorite sport to watch is motorsport, mostly Formula 1. My favorite Formula 1 driver right now is Max Verstappen. I already said that. I can cook nachos, pancakes and eggs. That's about it. My favorite dish is mostly Indonesian. and my goals for the season are get consistently in on the podium in AMA and get into ACA or maybe even Pro at the end of next year. So, bye.
Well, welcome viewers to the stunning Monte Carlo, pearl of the Côte d'Azur and jewel in the crown of Formula One. And we're here for a fantastic weekend of racing in the FSR AMA category, starting off with qualifying. Who will prevail? Who will show they've got the pace? Who's got the skills to pay the bills? Tune in for qualifying. And we'll take you straight to the qualifying pole lap. This is Mancini as he prepares the car and exits the final corner. Anthony Noakes, the charge down the start-finish straight, which isn't actually straight, and into Saint Devote, braking as late as he dares. Second gear through there, kick of throttle oversteer, but well managed. Up through Beau Rivage, no problem at all. Picking his braking marker for Massenet. Early apex, late apex. Beautiful lines through Casino as he heads down to Mirabeau Hort. On the anchors, off the anchors again, so those front wheels start to rotate and give some turning into lows. Bit of curve, not too progressive there. Great line and smooth. Listen to the engine out of Mirabeau Bass into Portier. He's got that hooked up, not wasting any horsepower on the wheel spin there. Moment to draw breath as he comes out of the tunnel at around 287 kph. Late brake, beautiful line, lovely straight exit out of the Nouvelle chicane, up towards the back, pins the apex at the back on the gas, full throttle, short shifting, keeps the car straight and pointed in the right direction. Lovely judgment there on the exit, just missing the Armco as he rounds Rascasse, again avoiding wheel spin, getting the nose in just perfectly and hammer down to the finish line and job done for a 110.817. And yes, Mirko Mancini has done it once again. That's 3 pole positions on the bounce, and he's making quite a habit of that. But have a quick look at it there, and you'll see there is only 0.06 between himself and Casper Nizio. Those two guys were the only people to go under 1 minute 11, and Mancini did it in every single one of his 3 qualifying attempts. So pretty amazing effort. Moscato with a great quality performance. Sean Jones in 4th. And today, let's see if Sean can convert this into a substantial race result, because he had a bit of an issue in Silverstone in Sector 1, Lap 1, and in Indianapolis an unfortunate oversight in not selecting the prime tyres. Next up, we have a bit of a special feature. We have merged all of those top 12 in qualifying into the one segment, so you can see what those gaps look like in real time. Enjoy. And now you'll see here that Mancini actually only got Nizio out of the final corner, Anthony Noakes. And I'm sure you'll agree that that power slide around lows was worth the price of admission from Nizio, the red car. Let's see that again. Wow. And finally, just for a bit of fun, we're doing our ever popular quali merge, where we merge the result from the Division 4 grid with the Division 3 grid. It's there for you to see how the green guys in Division 4 went against the blue lads in Division 3. Well, that was a stunning qualifying session, an incredible pole lap by Mirko Mancini, and pushed right to the line by Casper Nizio in second place. Those two guys were just in a league of their own, and the only ones to go sub 1 minute 11 seconds. So as you can hear, the race cars now are coming around, having done their formation lap. And just coming past me here, I'm on the stretch between Tabac and Swimming Pool, and you'll hear the last of the grid now heading around on their formation lap. I'll send you back up to the commentary booth for David O'Brundle to call the event. Well, thank you very much. And as the drivers head out on their formation lap, we will firstly talk a little bit about strategy. But of course, here at Monaco, the first strategy is to not hit the walls. In conventional race circuits, you make a mistake of 6 inches or a foot or 30 centimetres, and it might put you slightly off the optimum line. A 30 centimetre mistake here at Monaco is a race-ending mistake. So first strategy, stay off the walls. Beyond that, we've got Mancini is starting on the prime. It's a one-stop race, unless you have any damage. And you're required to use both the prime and the option tyre. Mancini is starting on the prime. Casper Nisio in second place, starting on the option tyre. So it'll be interesting to see whether he decides to short fuel to have an incredibly rapid first stint. Sean Jones also starting on the prime. Fabrice Morilato on the prime. Camille Jablonski on the prime. Thomas Smith choosing to start on the option. Jean-Michel Garnier on the prime, Teen Lua on the prime, Liam Howard on the option, Raphael Sebastian on the prime, and that's the top 10. It's about a 75 litre fuel load for the race duration here of 39 laps, so it leaves a bit of room for some cleverness in fuel load. You might, for example, over-fuel for your initial option stint to save that handful of seconds on your pit stop for primes. Conversely, you might light fuel and just put enough in the tank to get you through the option stint, hoping to show the rest of the pack a clean pair of heels in the opening stint. Let's wait and see. So a bit of atmosphere as we view the grid from the rear at about midway, and we'll pan around and show you some individual car shots. Of course, when the cars pull up, there are no fans, no air moving over the radiator, so engines can start to get hot. And O'Reilly and Garcia from TR Blue Voss, after uninspiring qualifying, have elected to start from pit lane, and Garcia is smoking. And he's not the only one smoking as we look from the front now. Now, launch control is mandatory in Division 4, AMA. Lights are out. And Nisio has absolutely launched it. Flown off the line there, helped by the option tyres, and with a start like that, I'm going to suspect that he is running a lighter fuel load. Mancini on the prime, likely to be running 48 litres. Nisio on the option could be as light as 27 litres, depending on when he's decided to stop. But he has absolutely launched it for this first lap. Engine will gradually cool down, and once the oil temp gets below 130 degrees, the engine will stop smoking. That's quite common on the opening lap. We have a bit of a look back at Lowe's now. We can hear some north. So a lovely vantage point above the Mirabeau Hotel, and we can see Nisio, Mancini, Jones heading down, and as people start to balk just that little bit behind them, as the concertina effect happens, there's a couple of misjudgments, someone a bit quick, and we suddenly have some contact, and there will be a busy pit lane at the end of this lap. Back with Nisio now as he closes out the rest of lap 1. Engine still smoking slightly, and he is absolutely going for it. His options, of course, have heated up better on the out lap, on the formation lap, than Mancini's primes, and he is determined to make this option stint work for him. In theory, he needs to probably find a 9-second gap between now and the first pit stop, and it looks like he's determined to do that as he rounds Rascasse, and he is working this car very, very hard. As he closes out the first lap, crossing the start-finish line, P1 is Nisio, P2 Mancini, P3 Jones, P4 Lianos in the orange car, P5 Moscato. Off camera, Smith, O'Reilly and Garcia, all from TR Blue Voss, have had to pit at the end of lap 1 for time-expensive damage repairs. Actually, I'm just hearing from our director that we do have cameras on pit lane, and we're watching 1, 2, 1 smoking. Any advance on 2, 3 cars. 4 cars entering pit lane. Now these drivers have just got to hope that their teams can effect repairs and get them back out with a bit of a gap before the leaders come back round again. It's lap 3 and we're watching Thomas Garcia from TR Blue Voss. Minor misjudgment at Portiere, collects the Armco, and driving through the tunnel discovers his steering is significantly off centre. Does not fancy 36 laps of Monaco with a car that won't go in a straight line, and retires the vehicle. And the action kept on coming thick and fast. This is lap 4 and Lianos on options slightly misjudges Jones's braking point on the primes and is sent around at the entry to Mirabeau Hort. And in the background there you can see Dylan Hember of TR Blue Voss having some dramas as well. We'll get back to that in a second. And this is the shot of Dylan Hember, lap 4, rounding Casino, getting back on the throttle. What happened there? We'll have a quick look from on board. We've left the telemetry open there for you so you can see the throttle tracing and that little undulation at the exit of Casino and Armco, and bang. It's an unforgiving mistress, this Monaco. Same lap, end lap 4, Del Biondo into Saint Devote, turn 1, slight misjudgment, and bang. Left hand rear axle cannot take it. So lap 4 took all those scalps, but we were clean for another 4 laps now. We're now on lap 8 with Diogo Moscato, and he is giving his car one hell of a workout on the Armco. He must have found some bits that were more flexible than others. But he's had a hit there on the right hand side, exit of Swimming Pool 2, hit on the left hand side, exit out of Saint Devote. The car for now is still holding together, but can it do so for much longer? Into Saint Devote, little bit of throttle oversteer, bang, front right, and we'll take an external view of that one for you so you can see exactly what happened to that car from an engineering sense and a sporting sense. And sadly that was from P4, which will cost him dearly in the standings. Same lap, and Brunanski at Raskas has a bit of a contact with the front wing and does himself a bit of damage and requires an immediate pit stop, but still it was a handy spot to do it. It's now lap 11 and Giannis Lianos is stuck behind Kamil Jablonski. Lianos on options, Jablonski on primes, but driving very, very well and giving Lianos no way through at all. And by lap 11 or 12, the option tyre has lost its real speed advantage over the prime, and from here on in the prime is just metronomic in its consistency. So in fact Lianos has probably no advantage, no pace advantage in hand, and it may serve him well to pit quite soon. A lap or two later and Lianos decides to pit for prime tyres, but unfortunately has a bit of a nightmare on his entry to pit lane and costs himself some damage. So it's not been a good afternoon so far for the Greek driver. At 14, Lianos leaving the pit lane, but keep an eye at the Saint Devote there and you will see Nizio hit the barrier. Lap 15 and Vincenzovic running well in position 12 and pushing O'Reilly ahead of him, both on options, and Vincenzovic unfortunately slight misjudgment on the exit of Tabac. Car rolls incredibly. We'll take a look at that from Alex Hallow's perspective, who was following him, and that must have been a hard stopper. It's now lap 18 and Nizio's in lap. He's the red car in the lead of that pair. The blue car behind him is a lapped car. And the next car to appear will be Mirko Mancini on his prime stint, so you'll see that Nizio has built up a handy lead in his option stint. And at the end of lap 18, Casper Nizio from the lead, which is held from lights out, finally comes into pit. And that promotes Mirko Mancini, who is yet to stop on his prime stint, into first place. Sean Jones primes also, moves into second place. And that's Liam Howard, who is playing a blinder. That's promoted him to third. Best result so far, 7th this season. So next time around, lap 19, Howard pits from a very long option stint, grabs the prime, and keen to get out there and get back into it. But he's going to face a battle up the hill, and in fact, Garnier just gets him. That's a set of hot primes versus a set of cold primes for you. We'll take a look at that from an external perspective, and Howard makes a great exit, hits the gas up the hill, but Garnier has momentum and has those tyres already optimal temperature. Lap 22, and Mirko Mancini pits from the lead, bringing his prime stint to a close and grabbing option tyres. But as we watch Mancini pit here, the plot thickens. We have just heard from Anthony O'Davidson in the pit lane that Nizio took option tyres for his second stint. You'll recall Nizio started on options, but when he pitted at lap 18, he took another set of options. So Nizio will take the lead, but has to pit again. In fact, it's Sean Jones who takes over the lead by virtue of not having stopped yet on his prime tyre. In just a moment, we'll see Casper Nizio fly past to grab second place on track, but in fact, net it's the lead because Sean Jones ahead of him has yet to pit. End of lap 23, and Sean Jones in the lead and still on his original set of primes has decided to go around again. End of lap 24, and Jones, and that is actually Nizio on Jones's gearbox. Nizio, remembering, has stopped, and that's now Nizio into the lead. Jones pitting has given Nizio the lead, and Nizio has got to go like mad now to make that second option stint work for him. But Jones is pulling into pit lane for his one and only pit stop, and oh my goodness, Jones has had to double stack. He's behind Miram, and he's wasting valuable seconds. That's got to be 5 or 6 seconds. That's cost Jones in his pit stop. That is not going to do anything for the level of tension in that cockpit. And Jones exits in P3. And while that was happening, this is Alex Hallows into the Nouvelle Chicane, lap 24, from position 12, and it just shows you cannot let concentration lapse for even a moment here in Monaco. So Hallows loses his front left wheel and is out. And this is Miram, just one lap after the pit stop that we saw, held up Sean Jones. Fresh options, probably not quite up to temperature, and overcooks it into Saint Devote. End of race. Same corner, same lap, same issue. This time it's Brunansky into Saint Devote, left rear detaches, and in fact he impedes Jablonski's pit exit. Lap 25, and Casper Nizio, running that second option stint, is in the lead and pushing like crazy, trying to win back an entire pit stop to keep him in contention for the win. And if you look at that commitment out of Tabac and into swimming pool, Casper Nizio has got this car on the limit. Coming up against a back marker here who moves out of the way very courteously. And Nizio is off to start lap 26, still in the lead. Now this is lap 26, and this fight on track is between two teammates with two very different stories for 9th place. The pursuer is Thomas Smit, the young Dutchman we interviewed at the top of the show. And the man he is pursuing and currently in 9th is a brand new team member, French driver Raphael Sebastian, having his first ever race for the TR Blue Voss team, and he is being monstered by Thomas Smith. Now, if you'll recall, Thomas had front wing damage at the start, had to pit at the end of lap 1, and has been absolutely flying. At this point in the race, only Mirko Mancini is lapping quicker than Thomas Smith. So Thomas is all over Raphael Sebastian like a cheap suit. How is Sebastian going to react? Raphael has had a completely different race to this point than Thomas. Raphael has had no incidents. He got a good start, and he's been motoring around at a good pace, but a steady pace, and just keeping out of the barriers. And I get the feeling that he is just going to make way for his teammate who is absolutely on a charge. And in fact, Sebastian moves across to let Thomas Smith through, whose engine's smoking from that close battle. Having cleared Rafael Sebastian, Smith is absolutely on it and pushing to the limit and beyond, as you'll see through the swimming pool chicane here, making significant contact with the Armco and really probably getting off there quite lightly, all considered. But the next car up the track is Garnier, and Smith can see him, and Smith has the pace to catch him. Lap 28, and now Smith has Garnier in his sights and is pushing like crazy. He's not in a mood to sit behind anybody, and he's going to put Garnier under massive pressure. And if you watch them go around Massenet here, you will just catch Garnier running a little wide and having a slight oversteer moment as these two guys dispute 8th place. Now, next lap, lap 29, and this time it's Smith in the dirty air of Garnier. High-speed entry, he's out on the marbles, and a major lose for Smith, which he has to gather back in. Now lap 34, and Nizio finally stops to take his compulsory prime stint. Mancini is close enough to immediately take over the lead, but where is Sean Jones? Is Sean Jones managed to stay within a pit stop of Casper Nizio? That's Casper Nizio leaving the pits now. Jones nowhere inside. Casper Nizio, having two stopped, has managed to emerge still in second place. So still on lap 35, we've just stopped it here at Lowe's hairpin. That is race leader Mancini going by. And let's look at the gap to Nizio. That's a lapped car, one of the TR Bluvos cars. Next car will be Nizio, to give you a sense of the gap between first place and second place. And the next car we see will be the yellow car of third place runner Sean Jones. Lap 36 of 39. 4 laps to go, including this lap, and we're looking here at the fight for 4th place. This is Liam Howard and Teen Lua, and just to give you an idea how these guys are feeling here at the heady heights of 4th and 5th at the Monaco Grand Prix, these gentlemen this season so far have a best result of 7th place and 8th place. So they're feeling the pressure. There's this lap plus 3 laps to go, and Lua is piling the pressure on to Liam Howard. We'll stick with this fight for a minute because this is a live fight on track for position for 4th and 5th. Howard in front has had a best result of 7th in the Netherlands, and Teen Lua has had a best result of 8th place in Silverstone. And as they exit the Nouvelle Chicane there, Howard seems to be having a bit of a problem. I don't quite know what the problem is. It's very late in the race. It's very late in his prime stint. But that car is starting to look a little bit like a handful. He's losing the rear there. The prime tyres seem to be going away from him. We're still on board with these guys. Next lap around, Lewis still piling on the pressure. That's a lapped car, I think. And Howard has hit the Armco in Mirabeau Hort, and I'm not sure what the problems are that he's having, but that car is looking very, very hard to manage at the moment. We'll stay on this onboard camera view of Teen Lua and see what he can manage to do against this wounded vehicle of Liam Howard. Howard is definitely having issues because Lua had to lift there. It's simply not part of it. There's a bit of a contact there. Lua's through. He's cut the Nouvelle Chicane. Whether that was an aid to a pass or avoiding a broken car, I can't say. At any rate, Lua is through. He's in 4th place at Monaco with 2 laps left to drive. He's just got to keep the concentration up, and here comes Howard behind him, and Howard was going for that gap behind Lua's car, and unfortunately that gap disappeared. That was O'Reilly and Lianis behind them, fighting over 11th place. Now a few seconds later we're back with the same battling pair we've been watching since lap 29, Smith and Garnier, and Smith pulls off a stunning move into Tabac, closes it out in Anthony Nose. That's Jablonski just ahead of him. They were fighting for 7th, 8th and 9th, but courtesy of that pit stop between Lua and Howard, it is now 5th, 6th and 7th. And this is Teen Lua and Liam Howard seemingly still fighting on their way out of the pit lane, but unfortunately they are now fighting for position 8 and position 9 with just 2 laps to go. Earlier that same lap we had Janis Lianos second place in the championship, monstering O'Reilly for P11, and they've come up across Von der Heide, who just gets a little bit out of shape and probably picks not the best place to allow them to have their blue flag moment. But no such problems for Mirko Mancini. There will only be one Master of Monaco here in 2021 in Formula Sim Racing in the AMA Championship Division 4. Mirko Mancini into Sector 3 of his final lap. He had to fight a rampaging Caspanizio who got him on the line with option tyres and a lighter fuel load. Held his nerve, very slight damage to his wheel apparently. After that, a little bit of contact off the line, and Mancini closes it out. Third win on the bounce, championship lead, job done. Nizio, after an exciting two-stop, crosses in second place. Jones through in third after a conventional one-stop, and a fabulous result for Jones. Great fourth place for Fabrice Morilato, followed by fifth place Kamil Jablonski after a great drive. Smith with a hard charging 17th to 6th place result. Garnier in 7th after a great fight with Smith, and he is the last of the drivers on the lead lap. So there's a full set of the Monaco results for you. I'll invite you to pause the video if you want to study them in any great detail. And now to the championship results as we leave Monaco. Mancini on top after a fantastic victory. You can see there 3 on the bounce. Janis Lianos still hanging on to second place despite a hard charging Caspanizio, who is now only 7 points shy. Thomas Smith, having collected big points again, equal fourth with Fabrice Morilato after a brilliant drive. Kamil Jablonski again scoring solid points, 53 in the championship. Thomas Garcia, a DNF, has not helped his cause, nor Diego Moscato. Sean Jones in equal 9th, finally got his teeth into some big points and is now starting to move up the table. Well, we hope you enjoyed that incredible race. Mancini having to rely on all of his skill, pace and persistence to fight back and put himself in a position to win the event. After Nizio took off on the options and showed a lot of flair, a lot of pace and a lot of daring to try to make an option prime stint work. We've got to talk to Caspanizio, but we get the impression that it may have been an inadvertent second option stint. Sean Jones, who now has finally converted his incredible qualifying performance and potential into his first podium in the season, and got to reach out to Howard and Lua, who were looking at a 4th and 5th until their problems on lap 37. Thomas Smith climbed from 17th to 7th here at Monaco, which itself is pretty incredible. So we hope you've enjoyed the highlights broadcast, and we'll look forward to seeing you next in Le Mans, of all places. Thank you. Signing out. So we're definitely now in bonus content area. If you're short of time, we won't be upset if you leave, but if you want to hang about for a bit more interesting Monaco trivia, we've got some coming up for you. So that is the map of the Principality of Monte Carlo superimposed to scale on New York Central Park. That's not the racetrack, that's the country. So we wanted to get a seasoned expert's opinion on what makes Monaco so special to win from a racing driver's perspective. So we managed to put a phone call through to the legendary commentator Martin O'Brundle, and we asked him the question, what makes winning Monaco so special? So what is it about Monaco that makes it so special? a circuit that shouldn't really work, a very slow track for very fast cars that Nelson Piquet famously said was a bit like riding a racing bike around your living room. Well, it's probably because it is just so hard to win. You absolutely have to be on it in qualifying. You've got to be right up there with the quickest qualifiers of your era. Then you've got to be so focused in the race. You've got to take chances. You've got to measure that balance of risk and reward. Because if you don't use that last 30 centimetres, you are half a second off the pace. So you have to have the ultimate in concentration. Everything's got to go right. You've got to avoid pit stop blunders. And you have got to really be on it for the entire duration of the race. So while it may not be the greatest racing event, it certainly is a spectacle, and it is certainly an amazing thing when you manage to win Monaco. And it is simply so highly prized by the top drivers. Your performances here just seem to align with your legacy in the sport. To be a multiple winner here and not be a world champion is a very, very rare thing. And that accolade, if we can call it that, is only extended to about 4 drivers of the 17 that have been multiple winners here. And that includes Mark Webber, David Coulthard, the late great Sterling Moss, and a French winemaker called Maurice Trintignant, who retired in '54, having won Monaco twice and won Le Mans once, but that was his only Formula One win. So if you've won it more than once, you are in a pantheon of the greats. And I guess the fact that a lot of the drivers live here doesn't make it any less attractive as well. Well, thank you very, very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share those experiences and your thoughts with us, Martin. We'll hope you have a great weekend and catch up with you in the future. And our last little bonus feature for you, this is another merge, but this time we've merged of all the drivers that finished the race, we've merged their single fastest lap. So you can see the difference in ultimate lap time, ultimate race pace between the driver who came first and the driver who came 12th or 13th, whatever the last finishing driver was. In here it is all overlaid on the one lap, and funnily enough, Casper Nizio managed to do another tail slide through those. So while we watch them, we'll sign out now. Thank you very, very much for joining me on this extended highlights package. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you come and see us next time we're out, which will be covering the Le Mans race. And remember to like and subscribe for more content. David O'Brien signing out.